Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 4 of the anime series Shokugeki no Soma, Sen no Sara, Toutsuki Ressha-hen, or the Toutsuki train arc, second half of season 3. And this episode was plenty surprising all over again for me, with the introduction of Kuga, who I guess has lost his seat amongst the Elite 10 and has decided to have fun with this and to mess about behind the scenes, seemingly going against Azami's and Central's sort of organization to try to, oust all of these air quotes rebels. He's going to help Soma. And at first, once again, I was fearing like, oh, this is going to make it too easy for Soma if he's got this kind of a leg up. Somebody who is at that level of the Elite 10, whether or not he's officially still part of it, coming at this with that level of help, like, uh-oh, is it going to make this less of a challenge for Soma? But it actually didn't, Soma kind of kept him at bay, kept Kuga, at arm's length, decided to take his help. He was welcoming to his help with the spices and everything that he brought along, but he's basically still taking the position like, well, I have to figure this out, If I'm going up against Akira, I really have to come up with my own special, no pun intended, flavor for this particular dish. And it turns out they're going to have to utilize bear meat. Now, I've never sampled bear meat. I've never smelled bear meat. Apparently it's very smelly depending on how it is utilized as an ingredient. And along with all of those spices and everything like that. And it just, it was interesting to me, the learning curve that Soma is effectively on, where he kind of Isaac Newton-esque, stumbles on to this inspiration to include these Schisandra berries, which is calling back once again on something he learned as an extension of Erina's, and in this case, her right-hand lady Hisako's, having given them a sort of tea to rejuvenate them all while they're, undergoing the lessons that Erina is trying to impart just before going on this great Toutsuki train arc misadventure, if you she had made them the tea with the Schisandra berries, and this is something now that while Soma falls back against a tree, rather than being, revealed to the properties of gravity a la Isaac Newton, he looks up and he sees what occurs to me to be sort of like, vines or whatever like that, where those berries were probably growing. And he makes like a Hamburg steak kind of thing, like a burger patty with the bear meat and with aspects of the Schisandra berries, having the flavor brought out of it through the use of alcohol and things like that. I mean, going up against Akira, as I say, Hayama Akira, but I prefer to call him Akira, with his sensitive knows, his capacity for scents and aromas and things like that. As we see toward the end of the episode, it was surprising that he came onto Soma's turf to sort of, wax bravado-esque in front of Soma, saying, hey, you once walked into my kitchen, now I'm barging into yours, and I'm showing you what I've already got cooking. He's got Cajun spices that he's utilized in his dish, and the aroma, it's very aromatic. It's, something that everyone's boasting about without even tasting it, just the aroma of this. It smells so good, and they can tell that it's Cajun spices that went into it. And these are things that Soma hadn't considered. He's completely alien to trying to utilize bear meat in any capacity, in any way, shape, or form. And so he's out of his element. He recognizes that, and that's what makes him put his nose harder down to the grindstone, even with Kuga's help. He is, as I say, welcoming to Kuga's help, but it's interesting to me that he's still very much about conquering this himself, overcoming this challenge on his own accord, and bringing whatever talents he has, but also trying to evolve his talents as a process of this. And this is something that I was surprised to see. Dojima is back. He is a neutral party, air quotes, but he will be the one judging this matchup between Akira and Soma, respectively. But all the while, Dojima is observing what Akira is doing, how he's putting his bear meat thing together. I mean, Azami had sort of put this whole group together of people, an official nose or whatever it was called, to be able to pick up on the scent and how to suppress the smelliness of the bear meat and all this kind of stuff. And Akira just, waves them away. He's like, I don't need any of this help. I'm going to do this myself. I already have an idea of what I'm going to be putting together with this bear meat dish. He's got a whole, jar of spices, the Cajun spices that are revealed at the end. And even though Izami is trying to stack the chips against Soma by piling on all of these, aficionados and stuff like that, Akira's like, I don't need that. I'm gonna have my way with Soma of my own accord, much as Soma wants to try to evolve his own talents, his own expertise, and learn and evolve and grow. And this is why I have a constant, respect for Soma. I love him as a character because no matter what the odds, he faces it smiling and energetically and boisterously and excitedly and inquisitively. He wants to learn. He has that need to want to grow and evolve and expand his horizons, expand his culinary prowess. And I utterly respect that in his character. Now it's interesting because, of course, they do cut back and forth a couple of times to Rindo and Megumi and Takumi, who she has, taken off to a different area. And even Arina is escorted away to her own sort of kitchen where she's going to be challenged. And we don't actually find out what exactly Rindo has, propositioned for Takumi and Megumi. I have a bad feeling they are going to be forced to challenge each other, maybe, and whoever loses is out. That's just my speculation, but I dared to wonder why they didn't reveal. They cut off Rindo before she could answer the question from Takumi and Megumi, what are we facing? What do we have to do? What's part of our challenge? And that's the only thing I could, think up at that moment. Why would they cut it off for the sake of drama if it wasn't something, cliffhanger-esque where they're both in jeopardy? But even if they're not both in jeopardy as far as, having to be pitted against one another, they're still in jeopardy because if they don't succeed at making whatever dish they are commanded to, they're out ski anyway, So it is still going to be a risky game for the both of them. But, most of the episode, as I say, is focused upon Soma and his going out into the wilderness and looking at the surroundings, that the bears and stuff like that, where they got this meat, trying to gain a bearing on what its environment is like, how he could, sort of garnish whatever dish he were to prepare with that information in tow. And that's where he gets the inspiration about the Schisandra berries and everything like that. And it was surprising, engaging. It was interesting all over again with this pending matchup between Akira and Soma. And Akira's coming in toward the end and showcasing just one of his testing phase dishes, to sort of smack Soma upside the head, to try to psych him out, gets me uber stoked as a viewer, as a fan of this series. So yeah, I loved it. I can't wait to see where we go from here. Love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 4 of Shokugeki no Soma San no Sara Toutsuki Ressha-hen, or the Toutsuki train arc as it is known. And so yeah, until the next one, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. If this video finds you well, I'll catch you all later. Peace.